Hey guys, what's up? th9 here from One Hive Gazette, here with the next video, and this one's on base identification at Town Hall 9, specifically for air attacks. So we're going to be going through examples of what types of bases are going to be good for certain types of air attacks. So for example, we have the Queen Walk Mass Baby Dragon queued up for this base for a certain reason, and we'll take a look at two other examples as well. There's basically four main air attacks that I can think of. There's different variations obviously, but there's four main categories for four different types of bases. I have three attacks to show, so for the fourth one we'll just have to talk through it a little bit, but you guys have seen enough attacks already that it should be pretty easy to explain. But we will go through the three attacks that we have first. Starting with this first base, it's a Mass Baby Dragon, and as we watch the attack, we'll just talk a little bit about what types of bases are going to be good for this. So first of all, you need usually all four of those air defenses in one area. You can try to do some creative stuff and have your queen only get three. In that case, you're probably going to want some method, whether it's a Lava Hound in the CEC, or your king, like a Suicide King for an air defense, some kind of method to get that third air defense if your queen can't get all four. But the best case scenario is your queen gets all four. So good funneling on the queen. You got to make sure she goes into the base. That's the entire attack right there, whether or not she goes into the base, because it'll screw you up completely if she doesn't. But right here, she steps in. Creative little thing with the king here. Sometimes your king is just kind of there. He's not really necessary for the attack. So he goes ahead and drops down the king to tank, and then some bowlers. He'll get some, he actually gets that air defense right there with the second bounce, which the queen would have got anyway, but it's definitely a good thing to do just for insurance. Taking out wizard towers, archer towers, so very creative there. And has to use the queen's ability for the CC troops, but has plenty of rages for her, so she will be fine as she makes her way into the base. One thing to keep in mind is that I don't think the queen even goes down to the bowlers or the king, the defensive queen that is. That's fine. The baby dragons are going to be enough to take out the queen. Don't worry about the defensive queen being too much of an issue. Worry about those air defenses. Those are the main threats, and possibly some other defenses that can target those baby dragons. The queen's not that big of a threat. They aggro onto her pretty quickly. Keeps them nice and spread out. But the main thing you're looking for are those four air defenses, all accessible by a queen charge. If you use maybe 4 quakes, that's the typical thing. A jump spell is less reliable, so you want to use those 4 quakes in most circumstances. Maybe not bring the poisons, so you only have to take up essentially one regular spell slot with those 4 quakes, and you can bring 3 rages to go with them. Usually the poison spell you can get away without having to bring it, as long as you have enough stuff to keep your queen up and the ability for the CC troops usually. So it takes out this base really easily, but that's the main thing. Those 4 air defenses, if they're accessible, this is a great strategy to use. It's actually pretty versatile. Beyond the air defense placement, as long as they're in the right spot, not that much other stuff matters. You can do it on most bases, unless there's some kind of weird setup to defend against this, but right now, nothing of that sort is what we're seeing. So look for those 4 air defenses, all accessible by a queen charge with those quakes. Moving on to the next one, Nanoh John. And this is just kind of your basic either cold-blooded or shattered la loon. We do see, and I guess there's kind of a 5th type of air attack I'm forgetting, which I'll talk about in a second, but just first, this is where you can get the queen in 2 air defenses, just like the old days, and funny enough, this actually is kind of an old-fashioned base looking thing, so it's definitely not that good of an anti-3-star base, but there are anti-3 bases that do kind of resemble this. It's where you can come in, sometimes you have to be creative for some of the new bases because defenders will make it a little bit harder, but you have the queen and 2 air defenses accessible, or the queen in 1 air defense, but in that case you should only use 1 golem and bring an extra lava hound, more balloons, something like that. You don't want to spend 2 golems if you're just getting 1 air defense. So all that basic stuff. One thing to add is I would bring a few more wizards now that you have the level 6 wizards that do even more damage than the old level 6 wizards. So a lot more DPS coming from that 4 troop space. It's a good thing to bring besides your heroes. You have the golems anyway. I say this a bunch, but you have the golems anyway. Might as well bring those extra wizards. It's pretty good value. So keep that in mind as well. And one thing I was kind of had an epiphany as I was making this video just now. There is the attack, which I'm not going to be showing, where you bring, 3 golems, bowlers, a huge heavy kill squad, almost like a stoned hobo, but instead of hogs, you use like 1 lava hound and balloons around the outside. That's when you can get in there and get like all 4 air defenses taken out, similar to the first attack I showed, but it's where a queen walk's not going to be as effective. Maybe there's too many walls in the way, and you can't use the quakes as you would. Maybe there's too much for your queen to have to deal with. That's when you go a little bit heavier and go ahead and bring the 3 golems, the bowlers, drop down like some jumps or something, maybe 1 jump, 2 jumps, whatever you need to get in there, get most of those air defenses taken out, and then just use balloons around the ring. So that's more of a hybrid attack. It's less air, more focused on ground, but it still incorporates air. So I guess I should have mentioned that. So that's probably the 5th one. And I'll talk about the one that I'm not mentioning, I'm not showing a replay for. I'll get to that last one at the end of the video. But let's go into the next replay I have. This is Jess. And this is something that's a little more niche-y. We don't see it quite as much, but I think it's worth mentioning. And because I had an attack for it from this war, definitely worth showing. And if someone gives you a gap into their base, go ahead and take advantage of that. But the difference between this and the baby dragon attack we saw at the beginning of the video is that he can't get all of the air defenses. There's still 2 air defenses his queen won't be able to get, or at least she won't be able to get in any reasonable amount of time. So he has to still, encounter those and have those taken care of. But that being said, the queen walk is the best bet here. A kill squad is going to be too unpredictable in the pathing, and besides, the queen walk is more effective. It's only the troop space of 4 healers, which is a little bit less than the golems, and he's not losing any troops. The queen's regenerating, so obviously it's a much better value. Goes ahead and drops that rage. Probably could have just gotten away with using the ability, because he has to use the ability anyway, so maybe didn't need to drop that rage as early as he did, but regardless, he'll still get some value because right here, she'll be healed up under that 2 to 3 point defense and gets that air defense taken out before it does anything too bad to the healers. Goes ahead and puts that next rage down, which is a good idea because the expos are coming in hot on her. At this point, sends the king in, I think just to take out that flanking archer tower and kind of support the queen. Not a huge deal, but had to do something with the king, so that makes sense. Then there goes the lava hound, a few balloons, the haste spell, just going to work his way around the base. Unfortunately, his queen is going to go down. That's not the best thing to happen because oftentimes she's going to be important for cleanup and stuff, but regardless, he still has quite a few air troops left up. Plenty of lava hounds because he has 1 more left to deploy, and he's already closing in on that last air defense. So good timing on that last lava hound. Balloons closing in, a few Teslas, which will be a little bit problematic, but he has enough balloons that it shouldn't ruin the attack. Lava pup spread out. The king is up, which is helpful for cleanup. Maybe could have got the king in a little bit earlier to possibly tank for the queen and prevent her from going down, but that's kind of, splitting hairs. It was a good attack. Nice job to Jess. And when there's an opening in the base like that, and on a very spread out base, which isn't that common, but we do see a little bit, this is a great attack to use if you can get a queen walk deep into the base. If you get all 4 air defenses, baby dragons are your best bet, but if you only get like 2 air defenses, like in this attack, use the loon on the rest of the base, like he did here. Okay, let's go ahead and that's our last replay actually. I do want to say one last thing, guys. When the queen is exposed, and you can do a king trade, that'll set you up for like a penta or a 4 lava hound attack where you really focus on bringing the air troops and the air spells, like rages and hastes and stuff, and some heals, which we talked about a few videos back, and sometimes drop your queen down to take out an exposed air defense if she can reach it over a wall, or just take out a Tesla farm and use a Zap Quake on an air defense. You have different options, but if the queen is exposed, that really opens you up to not having to use a kill squad or any kind of queen walk. You basically just use your queen as a utility troop wherever you need her, then focus on either lightning spells or a ton of rages and hastes for your loon attack, and just kind of spam your loon in. Don't spam it, but do it kind of like in a methodical method around the base. So that's the last kind of example, but those are the 5 guys. Just to recap them one more time, we have your baby dragon attack with the queen walk and the quakes. We have your traditional shattered or cold-blooded La Luna attack. Then we have the queen, the queen charge attack to get 2 air defenses taken out, and typically the queen as well. Then use La Luna on the rest of the base. We have the very heavily ground-based kill squad where you bring 1 or no lava hounds. You just bring 3 golems, some bowlers possibly, go deep into the base, just leave the shell for the balloons. And then this last one that I just talked about here, which is going to be the kind of blanking out for a second. The last one is going to be where you do the king trade for the queen, take her out, and then you can go ahead and be much more creative with how you use the rest of your troops. But it's more of an air-based attack, the opposite of the golem-based attack where you come in heavy with a kill squad. So hope that makes sense. Hope you guys liked the video. That'll do it. Let me know if you have any questions and if you want me to keep doing kind of base identification videos like this, which I might consider doing more of in the future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, th9 out.